What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours nonstop NBA DFS conversation starts right now. Grinders Live. Crunch time coming in around 6:15, 6:20 or so. Taking you home. Once again, it's the OGs. It's Noto. It's Beer. Roth, of course, holding that down, taking you guys all the way up the lock. Different slate depending on where you're shopping here on a Film Friday. FanDuel, they insisted that you have to consider players in the Toronto-Utah game, which is an absolute tire fire, an absolute disaster. They included the Lakers in Denver. Of course, the Lakers are playing the back half of a back-to-back in the middle of 4 and 5. So Luka's out. Other dudes are out too. So the Lakers are incredibly thin and monster dogs. Also Sacramento Phoenix. That game is on the FanDuel slate. DK is giving us a nice and sweet 7-game sprint slate. Chop, welcome. I was saying this pre-show. I was like, hey, I was going to give you credit for something. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give Chop credit on air because people always say I'm never nice to anybody. People always say that. They always DM me. And I'll say, you floated this idea a couple times. It's one of your big ideas. Like if you were like the arbiter of sports or like the commissioner of sports or whatever, any particular sport, and you have one ruling to make. And I think this is like one of your go-tos. The NBA should start in December. You always talk about this, and I listened to a podcast about it, and I was like, they laid it out, and it makes so much sense. And a lot of the reason why the way it is what it is because many years ago you wanted to avoid baseball, and then, baseball was the sport you wanted to get away from because you wanted to get away from, it was America's pastime. But now, of course, the NFL rules, when it's in season. So I was listening to it. I'll send you the link if you're curious to get your confirmation bias, but it makes so much sense for them to bump the season back like a month and a half. Of course, it makes more sense to even cut the season. They were talking about making a 69-game season, and it would be nice, but of course the money is a thing, but it would make the season so much better because we're talking about these last 10 or 12 games, whatever it is, 15 games. It's a slog. If you look at the standings, like everything's determined essentially. Anything that matters is basically determined right now already. Not always going to be the case, but all the sitting nonsense, the back-to-back stuff, the rest. It wouldn't completely go away, but I think it would be subdued. But yeah, shout out to you, Chop, for coming up with the. I don't know if you're the first person, but you put the idea in my head, and it makes a ton of sense. The NBA just starts too soon.
I've always said Christmas Day, perfect day to kick off the NBA season, Christmas Day. But, that's just me. Anyway, yeah, I mean, because, and just like you said, why would you want to compete more with the NFL, which is an absolute steamroller these days, as opposed to compete later on down the road with some MLB, which, not that big of a deal. But, we got lots of stuff going on here. There's lots of March Madness going on, tournaments. Semifinals, quarterfinals tonight. We got, some NBA, just all kinds of good stuff. And we've got film. I'm assuming we got film Friday.
I did send one to producer Steve. We'll be doing that as well. So we'll drop a clue momentarily.
We got some Astros trivia for. Oh man, that was can't do that one. That one's too old school. You'll never get that one.
Larry Durker.
No, it was trivia.
Glenn Davis.
Are you kidding me with this? 1949. There's no way Dean's getting that one. I'm just going through the week here and seeing if there's anything. Trivia.
J.R. Richard.
Speaking of J.R. Richard, that was this trivia question. How tall was J.R. Richard?
He was 6'3".
No, he was actually. It is a good question because he was a giant, especially for that time. 6'8".
Oh wow! I didn't know
he was 6'8". He was a big guy, but the one for today, I'm not sure you would have got. Who has more RBIs as a member of the Giants? Mel Ott or Willie Mays? It's a weirdo question.
Question.
I'm really disappointed in this calendar.
What team did Willie Mays end his career with?
Man, I mean, you're telling me like it wasn't the Giants.
It wasn't.
You're phrasing it like it wasn't the Giants. I have no idea.
It was producer Steve's team. It was the Mets.
Really? Oh, well,
yeah.
Shout out to, let's see, Mr. Richard says, 1949, try me. Okay, let me give him the 1949 question.
I dropped the 1949 question.
In 1949, what member of the Cardinals became the first rookie third baseman to start in the MLB All-Star game? You got that one, Mr. Richard? You can't Google it now. That's not fair.
That's not Houston trivia either, unless the guy.
It's the Cardinals.
Okay.
Honestly, I've never even heard of the answer to that, and I'm a baseball fan.
So who's the player?
I have to look it up again.
Forgot it already.
Eddie Kazak or something like that. Eddie Kazak.
No, I don't know. I don't know about Eddie. The hot corner? Yeah, I'm not aware of Eddie Kazak.
1949. I don't know. That calendar. I'm glad it was a Christmas gift because I'd be asking for a refund on some of these things. But I'm excited. We got the Film Friday today. I'm ready for it.
Did they not have an editor on that calendar? Why are it's an Astros calendar? It feels like only like a third of the questions are Astros based. But okay, fair enough.
It's ridiculous.
Went ahead and dropped this in the chat for the YouTube. I dropped the injury report, the monitor, who's in, who's out, the body parts we're taking a look at today. The full-fledged tankathon on FanDuel with Toronto and Utah. I did see Noto wrote today in his core plays, and he'll be on later. He said he's going to the game. And I want to ask him when he comes on later today, is he rooting for the Jazz or is he rooting for the Raptors? And I think he's going there with his kid. So maybe, does he teach his kid about tanking? So, okay, listen, I know you're a Utah fan. We're actually rooting for the Toronto team. It's really complicated. Does he explain it to him? What age do you have to be when you talk to your kid about tanking? When do you talk to your kids about tanking?
Tanking, man. It's just freaking ridiculous, Dean. We've had this conversation. We've had this conversation before. How do you stop it? How do you stop it?
I don't know. This ain't right. What is happening right now, there's got to be something better. Yeah. But I understand why these teams are doing it, but, it's terrible.
Mr. Richard says, I ought to try Immaculate Grid. Sir, I'm on the Immaculate Grid.
That's pretty fun. Yeah, I like that.
I get on there about once or twice a week. I get on there and do them all for the week. It's pretty fun. It's no matter how small it is in the grand scheme of things, to see your board light up 9 for 9 with green, all green, it's something special, man. It feels good inside.
What's the percentages of that? If you really got to take it to the next level, you have to pick the players that are like 1% or 0.5%. That's like the next level play. You're aware of this, right?
Yeah, that's you always try to dig a little bit deeper and not just do the obvious guy, but yeah, just getting all greens is good these days. So I'm not even trying to go too much into the lower percentage guys, but I know that one, Mr. Richard. That's a fun one.
The first clue today for Film Friday, and I did say hello to YouTube. Hit that like button, do subscribe, turn on those notifications. Do not submit your answers. I guess you can in YouTube. It's not necessarily recommended, but you wouldn't get yourself a week free of RG Premium if you happen to be correct. Don't tell me in the YouTube the correct answer to today's Film Friday. The first clue is grass, and you give the answer. Tell me what movie I'm talking about. Grass. In the Discord, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. One guess per clue drop. No MMEing in the old Film Friday. All right, Chop. So if you hit the optimizer button today, if you're just kind of like, hey, let's. I didn't do any research today. Let's just go ahead and good guess, Chop. It's not Pineapple Express, but I see where your brain's going. I like that. It's going to spit out a bunch of Spurs and a bunch of Cavs. The reason being, Darren Fox. Were you on the show a couple days ago? We were talking about Fox, and I'm like, yeah, I think he's dealing with a finger. Maybe that was Bobby. And he dealt with a finger, and he put up an incredible score, and then they shut him down because of his finger. So he's done for the year. Of course, Wemby's gone as well. So tons of usage there opening up for San Antonio. We're expecting Castle, the presumed rookie of the year. He's almost, you got to lay 10-1 at this point, to step in that starting lineup and play with 7 or 8 more minutes than he has per game on the season. And of course, Mitchell is out for Cleveland, and they take on Memphis. Memphis, the best pace. I know Triple J is officially questionable. I think we're actually projecting him in. He's way ahead of his timeline. I would be shocked if he plays tonight, but I've been wrong before. I do not anticipate Jaren Jackson to play. Life should be easier for the offense for Cleveland. The tricky part is Cleveland has nothing to play for, but that didn't stop them from playing. They played Garland 36 minutes the other night. I still think they're going to baby their guys to some degree. They're aware they're just kind of coasting in, but that's where we're getting Chop. We're getting a lot of Cleveland, no Mitchell, a lot of San Antonio, no Wemby. Of course, we've adjusted for that, but now no Fox. And if you jump over to FanDuel, again, a little bit different on FanDuel, you're getting Lakers because 5 Lakers will be on the court. And like Jordan Goodwin, Connect, Austin Reeves, even, Vanderbilt, those guys are projecting pretty well because they're without Luka and they're without a bunch of other dudes as well. But any overall thoughts? Jared Butler also projecting really good for Philadelphia because we do have to talk about one tanking team at least because the Sixers are on the both slates and they're taking on the Pacers, who might be countering possibly because Pascal Siakam is questionable. I think that was a midday downgrade too, and they're on the front end of a back-to-back. And tomorrow they actually face Milwaukee. I don't know if you watched the first game where Halliburton had that walk-off 4-pointer, which in the corner. It's pretty spectacular. Those teams don't like each other. Those games are actually important with Indiana and Milwaukee. And maybe Indiana's like, well, we don't need to play Pascal tonight because Philadelphia is just horrendous. By the way, Paul George not ruled out for the season, but he's not playing. Just shut it down. The nonsense they're putting out there, like they're talking about, just say it's over. It's okay. We know it's over. And Quentin Grimes is ill too. I don't know if you saw that because he's the one guy that can actually score in theory. So Philly is doing their absolute best to lose games, and that shouldn't be an issue tonight. Also, we might get some stuff from Boston that can shake things up. I believe it's the only game of a one-game road trip, Boston and Miami tonight. Tatum is questionable. Brown is questionable. Porzingis, who's been ill forever, is questionable. I think they're on the front end. Let me confirm. I have this written down. Where did it go? I can't find my stuff. Celtics, Heat, Pacers, Rockets, Grizzlies, Spurs, Denver, all on the front end. Lakers, Magic, Kings are on the back end. So, things are going to change, Chop, but as of right now, well, they might. I think Boston's going to wrestle somebody. But another team that's essentially playing for nothing, their spot's essentially solidified. They can't jump up. They can't move back, more or less. But you got anything big picture here, Chop, before we dive in?
I mean, the biggest picture I can give you is just looking at the players on this DraftKings slate, which is what we're going to cover. And it's a fast slate, so the injuries shouldn't be too bad. Not going to drag on all night long, but I would say it's a stars and scrub build because you got plenty of scrubs out there that you're going to get to choose from. But there's not really a guy projecting on this slate for DraftKings.
The stars aren't great.
Yeah, there's no elite players. The elite players theoretically are on the FanDuel slate, but even then they're hard to come up. But this one, there's just one guy. I have different projections pulled up. I'll say 50-point barometer. There's like 2 guys that hover around the 50-point projection mark. That's not very much in the grand scheme of things. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting slate to build from. It might be a slate where you leave a little salary on the okay, big picture. And we'll talk about all these guys individually, but we got just about a 70% owned guy in Philly, right? Jared Butler. This might be one where you get different by just leaving salary on the table and don't worry about the 40, because there's going to be 40% guys, 35+% guys in ownership. So I think the difference maker might be, and they're all good plays. That's the problem. You hate to fade to good plays, even if they're chalky. So maybe leave a little money on the table, and that's how you get different. And you don't even worry about ownership per se.
Give it a refresh, Chop. We have Butler all the way down to 51% on DK. Yeah, Butler 51%, Castle 46%, Garland 41%. On FanDuel, we have a 67% player in Jordan Goodwin. just the way things are falling.
And I guess a lot of that is like depends on what you're looking at as far as the tournament. I'm always kind of I look at the scale back with the single entry, the 3 max entry, 5 max lower fields are going to have a Jared Butler a lot more than the large field. So that's kind of where my head's at on that one. But yeah, I guess in the large field, even 50 though, and if battling 100,000 other teams and one guy's 50% owned, it's pretty darn massive.
So here's the thing: Luka's out. DFS is doubtful, so he probably doesn't play. He played last night. Jackson Hayes is out. Rui Hachimura hasn't played in a while. He's out. LeBron, of course, is out. But now Gabe Vincent is also doubtful too. So like DFS and Vincent could be doubtful. We saw Goodman play 25 minutes or so last night. Some of it was garbage. But he's going to be one. We're projecting 32 minutes for him. And Connect is another guy who I don't know if he can like necessarily get his shot. And we might see a counter. Maybe we get a counter punch. I saw in chat there talking about maybe Denver rest some guys too. And, kind of feel bad for the person who bought tickets for Denver. Oh, Joker. We get to see Joker versus LeBron 2 months ago, whatever it was. And then, okay, I guess you're not going to see LeBron. I'll see Luka. That's good enough. Oh, wait. Yeah. And maybe they rest Joker. I don't know. It's going to be a big old mess. Let's talk about the first game on the slate. I was going to take, let's go Pacers, Philly. Really pick your poison here because both these games at the 7 o'clock hour have questionable stuff. I thought maybe we can kind of buy ourselves some time for news, but that's not happening. 231.5 is a total. Philadelphia, like we said, just absolutely horrendous. 13-point dogs here at home. The injury report for them is massive. We have, let's see. Drummond is questionable. Edwards is questionable. The obvious ones, no Embiid, no George, no Gordon, no Lowry, no Maxey, no McCain. And then Grimes. We have 10 bodies right now, and 3 of those are questionable. Drummond questionable with a toe. Edwards has an ankle. And Quentin Grimes, they're allegedly saying he's not feeling well. They're saying he had the fish. They're saying he's ill. So they could be down to you got to dress 8, I believe, right? And sometimes we have like the 8th guy dresses and just doesn't play situation just to kind of play the game. But something to monitor, something to keep an eye on. But as of right now, we're projecting them all in. For the Pacers, again, they're on the front end of a back-to-back important game tomorrow. They did give Pascal a questionable tag for his elbow, I believe. Your thoughts? Best we can do. Philadelphia and the Pacers, and one of the most popular plays in the slate is Jared Butler, who would certainly benefit if more players are ruled out.
Yeah, lots of stuff here. First of all, I'd like to answer a couple of questions in chat because we were just talking about the Lakers game, and Chris was asking about over under 17.5 for Connect. I put Connect over 17.5 points in right before the show. I got to go over on that one, so I'd get that one. And on the flip side of that game, I think I put, let me see here. I found my Michael Porter Jr. lower than 7.5 rebounds, under 7.5 boards. So that's where I'm at on that game, in case anybody was wondering about some props. But
by the way, not to cut you off, but I think you're seeing Grimes is getting ruled out right now because, again,
I'll tell you what, we are in Lent, so maybe he did have the fish today. Maybe it did not sit well with him. There's a good chance that you might not be exaggerating.
There's a good chance he's ill. Like I mean, look, who am I? I think there's a 50-50 shot they're lying. I think it's a 50-50 chance.
I mean, honestly, he's a relatively young player who has his best days ahead of him, and you were gonna lose this game anyway.
Probably, yeah.
So I would think that it's probably legitimately because why wouldn't you let him get some playing time and see what you really have going forward. You're not beating it's relatively healthy Indiana team. Turner, Halliburton, all these guys are playing, so you weren't beating them anyway. But yeah, we're not getting like hardly any ownership on Indiana, and I understand that. Projections aren't great on them; they're just kind of neutral. And there's a blowout factor, especially now. There was always a blowout factor, but I mean, somebody's going to score for this team. Somehow they're going to put up some points. They're going to do some things, and Philly's just atrocious right now on the defensive end. So, Miles Turner's under 7K. I can get behind that play. Good GPP play. Speaking of props, let me see which one did I have. I had Andrew Nimhart. Let me see if I got Nimhart higher than 4.5 assists. I like that one tonight. Somebody's going to score for this team, so we'll see who it is, but I think it's going to be Nimhart spearheading it. So if you want to go Siakam, I probably wouldn't. I don't want to pay too much, I guess. I want to keep it under 7K for these Pacers if I can, so I prefer not to spend up on Halliburton. And not to spend up on Siakam, but I think everybody else is fair game. Somehow you're going to get there. Jared Butler, a popular player, but for 4,600, he's been delivering on that this week. Now he's getting even more usage tonight with Quinn Grimes ruled out. I don't think Philly's going to get shut down for a NBA record low points scored. So somebody's going to put the ball in the basket, and they don't have very many bodies. This seems like, Butler's fine. He's the safest one, but this seems like kind of a Ricky Council game or somebody like that, where just the greedy players. This is where the greedy, selfish players stand out, and that screams of a Ricky Council.
By the way, I made a mistake. I forgot to say Kelly Oubre is questionable. He's also another guy that might not play. And you mentioned the fourth, Ricky Council the fourth. Lonnie Walker the fourth is also out. They're saying he's got a concussion. So, yeah, it could be a mess. It could be an absolute mess. Now they still have, let's see, if Grimes is out, possibly they can have, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They can still have 10. But again, Oubre questionable. Drummond is questionable. So they can get whittled down pretty quickly. But they should have Yabusele and Bona for the 5. Reese is another big as well. But Butler probably jumps in the starting lineup, I would imagine. Maybe Doughton gets some run. Maybe he doesn't. I know he's one of those two-way guys that they're counting games. It's just a big old mess, man. And as far as the Pacers, I think there's a decent chance Pascal sits. By the way, I don't know if you use the RG tools or not, Chop, for Nemhart, but I just checked. I was curious what we have projected for. Like if you have our stuff, you can look and see the specific, not just the fantasy points projection, meeting projections, but the breakdown: points, rebounds, assists. And Nemhart's actually projected for 5.53 assists, which is more than 4.5. So I don't know if you were using that as a guide, but the projections like it, if nothing else.
Projections never lie.
Anything else as far as Indiana and Philly of note?
I think we covered that one pretty good.
All right. Next game. There's only 2 7:00 games. The other 7:00 game is the Celtics. The Celtics in Miami, down in South Beach for I think they play tomorrow night in Brooklyn, I want to say. So yeah, we have probably something happening here with Boston, a team that shouldn't really be pressing too hard at this point. They're not going to jump to the 1. They're not going to fall to the 3. So they're essentially locked in the 2. Jaylen Brown's questionable. They gave him a knee. Porzingis still ill, is questionable. Derek White, he's got a knee, and Tatum. So anybody that's important essentially is questionable. Tatum's got a knee as well. Horford is probable. I assume he doesn't play tomorrow. Miami, the Heat, no Alec Burks. Highsmith available. Jaime Jaquez available. Jovic, of course, still dealing with that hand. Who knows if we'll see him the rest of the season. Duncan Robinson's available. Terry Rozier available. Khalil Ware available, and Wiggins available. So pretty healthy. We saw Ware got benched last game in the second half against the Clippers. I'm not digging too deep as far as Miami. Like if you're playing NBA in Miami, it's one of the 3. It's either Hero, Bam, or Wiggins. If you're doing anything for Miami, historically Bam's been pretty good against Boston for what it's worth. And also, if you look at the defense versus archetype matchup tool, I believe it's the number 1 defensive matchup for Bam. Just kind of for versatile bigs. Versatile bigs are pretty good. Again, Bam, versatile big. He could step out into the 3, but he's not the most versatile bigs. But you got to call him something. Not a post big. I guess you got to go versatile or post. It could be either or. What do you got here? I don't know. How do you give analysis for Boston? It's just an if-then game.
Well, yeah, that's why I don't like the game. That's why you don't like it. Like it's tough. In fact, I like it so little, Dean. Here's how little I like it, Dean. On Prize Picks, I took Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis under points, rebounds, and assists on both of them. Just take some unders here, man. This is what I.
Well, the danger of unders is if like everybody's out, but the guy you're taking it under on now.
Drew and Porzingis, like.
Well, Porzingis is probably not playing. He's questionable.
He might. So he doesn't play. You don't do it. But if he plays, they certainly going to be like.
They'll be cautious.
Yeah. So I think you already got some built-in equity in that one. Drew Holiday's been doing the same thing, sitting out a lot, and And so I just don't think I think it's good to like those aren't the guys that are going to get pushed if somebody gets ruled out. And I don't even know if anybody gets ruled out, but I don't like anybody in this game. I mean, if you twisted my arm, I'd take the cheaper of the 2 stars, which is Jaylen Brown. Yeah, I mean, Bam is fine, I guess. I mean, it's ugly game, but yeah, Bam is fine. I'm not going to take a perimeter player against the Celtics tonight. So that rules out Tyler Hero. The other guys don't really do much for me. So I like a whole lot of nothing in this game, to be honest with you.
Bam's been having some big games of late, and in the minutes have been outrageous. 35, 38, 38, 43, 37. It's just a lot of minutes going his way.
And in Miami, typically does pretty good against Boston too.
Yeah. I did a stat muse on it because I think the way they defend him is they kind of just let him have like those 15-foot, non like the, Boston's mentality, dunks and threes, right? That they'll let you get like the 15-foot shots off. And that's kind of where Bam lives sometimes, probably too much. So I think he's happy to take those shots. And I don't know if I'm going to get there because he's expensive and there's, other places I want to go, but I wouldn't exit out necessarily. Certainly if I was running 20 or more lineups, I would have at least one Bam. And the Boston stuff is just kind of wait and see. I imagine somebody sits, again, front half of a back-to-back. One of Tatum or Brown probably sits. There's no point in speculating. At some point we'll know. If we don't know, Crunch Time knows. It's a 7 o'clock game, so we'll know this information at some point, but we don't know it right now. What we do know, Chop, is that clue number 2 is going to be dropped momentarily for Film Friday. Just checking the live stream chat. I'm guessing nobody guessed it. It is not Field of Dreams. That's a good guess, though, Diesel Dogs. It's not Brokeback Mountain or Starsky and Hutch or Forrest Gump or Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's another good guess. See what you're doing with that. The first clue was grass. The second clue for Film Friday is planet. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the 7:30 games here, Chop. It's the Clippers and the Hawks. High and tight, right? Clippers are just 4-point favorites here. 233 is the total. As far as who's in and out for this one, well, Ben Simmons officially questionable. We should be getting a new injury report here momentarily, so maybe some things will change. Norman Powell, not that Simmons matters. Norman Powell is out. That matters, but things have adjusted. He's been out for a while. As far as Atlanta, Capella out once again for family reasons. Jalen Johnson out for the season. Keaton Wallace is out. Trae Young, we always talk about it. He's questionable. I'm sorry, he's probable. And he's almost always, pretty much every single time he's probable, he does end up playing. They just probable tag him every single time ever since they got fined a few months ago. But he's expected to play. Atlanta, Clippers, what do you got, Chop?
Well, first of all, Dean, let's get to some chat questions. Horace Williams says it's Pie Day, 314 pizza. Oh, yeah. $3.14 pizzas. Where are you getting that at, Horace? I'd like to know where the 314 pizzas are.
I don't think I want a $3.14 pizza. And
I might investigate that. I don't mind that.
Can I pay $10 and just so I feel better?
My guy, Carolina guy, he's a FanDuel guy. He says, who's the favorite studs on? I mean, probably Darius Garland's got a good price tag over there. You go that route.
But that's to your point. Like the first stud you think of is Darius Garland. Like Mobley is going to be incredibly popular as well. The absence of Mitchell.
So I mean, yeah, Jokic is projected the best over there, but we're not even sure about. I can't play that one.
He's probable. I just amongst the players that don't have a designation, there's like a 10% chance he doesn't play tonight. 5% chance.
Let's go Şengün then. Let's go Şengün on FanDuel.
I love him.
Might as well.
It's gonna be popular, by the way.
Yeah, but you gotta do something. What game we on right now?
Clippers and the Hawks.
Clippers Atlanta. Oh, buddy. Yeah, I'm not. Another game is kind of weird, but Atlanta's not really. You can always play Dyson Daniels, still in that mid-range price tag. If he gets his defensive stats, he's good. Trae Young's a little too expensive. Some of the other guys, I think Niang is going to pop in some projections, some optimals. I don't know if you want to take that. That's not my style of player, but Risache is all right. Okonwu is fair. For Atlanta with Capella ruler, I think you don't need it, but you on a different slate you could have played Barlow, min salary, but not this slate. Not this
No.
slate. You don't want to play it on this slate, but they're competitive. They're good enough to keep the Clippers involved. So I think you take the big three of the Clippers and you split them up and figure out, and play some of them. Kawhi Leonard's fine. James Harden's going to project as well as anybody on this slate on DraftKings. So he's solid. Zubac is good, even though he's just, stuck at one position and that's it. That hurts. But I think,
though. 2-category crusher.
Yeah. So, and on this slate, yeah, it's fine. As far as, I did take the under on Gaia. What is it? Oh, his lower 3.5 rebounds on Gaia. Let's go under on that one.
Do I correct you here or do I not correct you?
Yeah, go ahead and correct me, man. Gaia.
It's gay.
I'm just doing props, Dean. I'm just doing props here, Dean.
I
you don't have to make fun of the bit.
I actually like the under. He's been starting, but I think he's fading away.
Yeah, and also Amir Coffey on the other side, under points, rebounds, assists. They're healthy enough. They put it out there on Prize Picks. Take it under 11 on all that stuff.
News coming through. Nothing of relevance.
We're getting a lot of Saturday news already. The news dump on Saturday. Chet Holmgren's out. A whole bunch of Brooklyn Nets are out for Saturday. Okay. Well, it's not Saturday, guys. Let's maybe keep it on Friday right now.
Oh, Jalen Williams is off the injury report. That's good to see. He had that hip. He was out for a game or two. But yeah, that's the thing with OKC is and that's everything is settled. They won the one and they're just going to chill for a month. A little less than a month now, right? End of the season, I think is the 11th or so next month, something like that. But we're going to see some sloppy basketball for the next month or so. And I'm not just talking about March Madness. Rim shot? Anybody? Where's producer Steve with the rim shot? All right. Anything else of note as far as Clippers and Hawks?
Nah, that's enough.
Okay. Did anybody guess today's film Friday? Let's see. Martian gets a good guess. It's not Martian. It's not Signs. It's also a good guess there from Thomas the Great.
I guessed. You didn't say if I was right or wrong.
It is not The Happening. No.
Have you seen that movie?
A long time ago. It was a miss to me.
Oh.
I didn't like it. Yeah.
You didn't like it?
I don't think so. I don't remember liking it. It's been a long time, but
Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah. I mean, he's I like Boogie Nights. That's one of my favorite movies of all time, but that's not The Happening did not do it for me.
I thought it was interesting.
I like M. Night too. I like most of his stuff.
I thought it was an interesting point of view on that movie, like what it was trying to say.
Was that the Andy Samberg bit, like the Saturday Night Live bit? Was that kind of born out of Mark Wahlberg's acting in The Happening? I feel like it was. No, but I think they did a whole spoof on it, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. It's not Interstellar or Neptune or Asteroid City. Asteroid City is a good guess too. All right, some good guesses coming in, but no correct answers just yet. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium if you're the first one to guess correctly on what today's film is. The Hornets and the Spurs. All right, here's a team that's going to be super popular. 232 is the total. The Hornets they're only 3-point dogs, which is kind of interesting. As far as the Hornets, who's in for them? Well, Miller is out for the season. Okogie, no Salon, no Simpson, no Williams, nothing new. Basically pretty standard. Jeffries, we're presuming is going to continue to start for Charlotte. Ball, Jeffries, Green, Bridges, Williams. Williams is in an incredible spot. It's just when all three centers are available, Nurkic and Diabate kind of limits his ceiling. If he can somehow get 30 minutes here, he'd be awesome, but I don't know if he can. Bridges has been outrageous. Just one of the best players in DFS for the last, 10 games or so. The Spurs, we mentioned it before at the top, no Fox, no Wemby, of course, no Bassey. We're expecting Chris Paul to start alongside Stephen Castle, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and Bismack Biyombo. Yeah, so the whole left here by Fox with no time to adjust as far as asking price. That's why we're seeing a lot of Sacramento pop here, Chop. Ownership-wise, Stephen Castle, he's got the rainbow as well. Kirkwood, Bobby, Taylor, myself, Noto, we all tagged Castle today. 50% owned, give or take, right? He looks amazing. We're assuming 32 minutes. We're assuming he starts. And Bridges, on the other side, to me, is an incredible run back if you're not getting a LaMelo. I probably prefer Bridges to LaMelo. If you're doing a little bit of a game stack, you can do like a 3-1. This is one of my favorite games on the board. I'm curious how you feel about it.
This is the best game we've covered so far. Might be the best game of the night, to be honest with you. Up to this point, I could see this game being relatively competitive, even though the Spurs are down a bunch of people. We're seeing them unleash Stephon Castle, so love him tonight at this price tag. I even like Chris Paul. He's a veteran, but I think he's going to get plenty of work. He's only 4,900 with Fox out, and I think he's going to get plenty of work here with this young team and stuff. So I like Chris Paul too on that side. I don't hate any of these guys, to be honest with you. Devin Vassell's fine. Keldon Johnson's okay. But mainly sticking with Stephon Castle there. I think he's an incredible play tonight. And then on the flip side, I think of all the spin-ups tonight, I kind of probably like LaMelo Ball as much as anybody else on this slate as far as spinning up and doing that kind of thing. Spurs aren't going to play any defense. He's going to do his thing. It's the kind of a matchup he can, twirl his triple-double. So I'm fine with Ball. I love Ball, actually. I'd rather have him over Bridges, and they're not that far priced. I think Mark Williams at 76 is a great play also. There's just not much interior for the Spurs anymore, and Mark Williams should get enough run here to take advantage of it. So thus far, best game on the slate. Love it.
Is 28 minutes enough for Williams? That's his current projection because – they're playing Nurkic 11, Diabate 10. That's the projection. I suppose it's possible they can knock one of those two out, but there is no motivation for Charlotte to win this game. Shout out to them for still playing Bridges a ton. If you go do the old game log thing on Bridges, 37 minutes, 37, 35, 39, 35, 34, 36, 40. I don't know what. Do they know how this works? Do they know about the lottery? Do they know that they're never going to get a big free agent? Does anybody told them? There's a reason why they're one of the worst organizations. But I guess I can't make fun of them for doing that while I'm also making fun of the teams for tanking. The tanking teams are actually pretty sharp. But yeah, they're a third. They're currently in the 3 spot. They really don't want to fall back from 3. And New Orleans is right in their tail. New Orleans is just 2 games behind. But they're just behind Washington and Utah. And Washington's been winning too much of late. They're 5 of their last 10. So Utah's kind of sneaking up on them as far as the tankathon. But respect to Charlotte, I guess, to playing Bridges so many minutes. And they got a chance to win this game here. But he's I'm not going to say LaMelo is bad, but I prefer Bridges over LaMelo. But I'm fine with either or. But
in fantasy, okay. All right. In fantasy or real life?
Oh, in fantasy, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure how good
either one of them are. I'm torn on LaMelo Ball in real life. I'm torn on him in real life.
I don't know how much he helps you win. I'm not sure.
If you get him in the right situation, take advantage of his offensive skill set, he could be really good maybe. This is all we know of him is this garbage Charlotte team. You never know. And offense is what counts in the playoffs. Defense, defense is optional, so I don't know, man. It'd be all right.
Chop, there is that sliding door situation where what if the Warriors drafted LaMelo Ball, right? They had the chance to do it, and a lot of people thought they would, or they
should have. So okay, there you go. Because that's a good coaching staff with a good system. I wonder what he would look like today. How many more championships they would have? At the time, they were kind of. I don't want to say they were in their prime there. But they were still really good when they had that pick, and they ended up winning another championship after that. I wonder if they would have got more than that one, or if they wouldn't have got that one. It's tough to say. It's tough. I don't know, Dean.
Kind of surprised Pascal Siakam is available to play. I thought they would let him chill and play a bunch tomorrow, but okay. Also, O'Shea Brissett is on the 76ers, and he's available to play basketball tonight for them in a revenge game, right? I don't know if that's the last team he played for, Indiana, but once upon a time he did. I couldn't tell you where he's been of late, and I assume he's not in the player pool. Is Brissett in the player pool? Don't know. I don't even know if you want to play O'Shea Brissett, but I don't think he's in the player pool. But he's available to play basketball tonight for Philadelphia.
I'd rather play O'Shea Jackson in 3-on-3.
I heard that that Den of Thieves 2 was really bad. The first one was a lot of fun.
No spoilers now. I mean, you can't match something that was so good. Yeah, the original. You can't match it, and it feels kind of like a money grab. I haven't seen it. I'm still waiting on it, but I can't imagine it's better than. It's like Sicario, man. Like the original was.
Both those were good, though. Both those were good.
It was good, but the original was so good. Like you're just never going to compare to it. So it was just a bit off. But yeah, those were both good.
It's usually a bad sign. Den of Thieves came out in theaters like, I don't know, a month or two ago, and it's already going to be on Netflix next week. And that's a bad sign. That process got sped up really quickly. But I'm sure I'll watch it. And you don't take those too seriously. They're pretty. They're pretty fun. I thought the first one was a lot of fun. I know a lot of people said it was like a Heat ripoff, which kind of an homage to Heat in some ways. And of course, it's not as good as Heat. Like what is? But all right, let's move on. Oh, speaking of films, we should drop that third clue, Chop. This will get the people excited. The third clue today is serve, grass, planets, and serve. That is our first three clues. Tell me in the Discord what film we are talking about. Let's talk about let's see. We got 3 more games. On the DK slate. We got about a half hour or so. We got plenty of time. Maybe we'll touch on the FanDuel nonsense. I really don't want to. I mean, a lot of it's just speculation too. And if nothing else, of course, Crunch Time is going to talk about all the FanDuel stuff and the Toronto-Utah guesswork that we can do our best with. But we'll see if we have time for that. Crunch Time, of course, coming in about a half hour. You got Noto and Beer and Roth. Okay. Speaking of Roth, his current living situation. Isn't he based in Houston? Taking on, wasn't he a Dallas fan or kind of was a Dallas fan? And I'm not sure where he is now at this point after the Luka trade. I know he was bummed about it. 219 is the total. The Rockets, your Rockets, Chop, your Rockets taking on the Mavs. They're 13-point favorites. Of course, Amen is still out. No Amen Thompson for Houston. Reed Shepard is out as well. As far as Dallas, I mean, XM is questionable. There's a chance to get Kai Jones back today. So I was writing about Şengün earlier today, and I was like, yeah, anybody who's basketball tall is pretty much out for Dallas. I guess Kai Jones could be back. He's got that quad. Of course, Kyrie's done for this year and maybe next year, or at least a good chunk of it. Davis, Gafford, Hardy, OMP, Lively. Oh, PJ Washington is also questionable. Mm-hmm. And Brandon Williams is questionable.
Dean, I know I got it right. I got it right? I had to get it right.
You did get it right.
I knew it. That was it. That was the one.
Got it. Did anybody get it right? Did you beat? Somebody got it. So
somebody got. Oh, you get. I didn't see it, Dean. I didn't see it.
What's funny is the next clue I did it. Producer Steve said he beat you by a minute, but you're doing a show. You're multitasking. Shout out to you for getting the Film Friday correct. The fourth clue, by the way, was made just with you in mind. You'll appreciate it. Not that it matters at this point, but we'll play it out just for fun. I believe that's D-Rock. D-Rock took down the answer in the Discord, but we won't reveal it just yet for those that are just hanging out in in YouTube and not in the Discord and trying to play along. And we can give the last couple clues here momentarily. Chop, your Rockets versus the Mavs. You mentioned Şengün earlier. There's all sorts of stats. And who's going to slow him down on Dallas? Who's going to keep him in check? I don't think there's anybody, right?
No, there's nobody. So I do have some leans towards some Rockets players. I'll start off with the Mavericks. I don't like the Mavericks necessarily. I don't have any of them highlighted. They're going to score something, so you could play somebody there. But the problem is, I think their best fantasy player is Najee Marshall, who is now 8K. I think we did a show. That was Tuesday. I think we did that show. The guy was like 6,800, and he was still very playable, and I was still very much on that train. Now he's 8K. We fast forwarded only 4 days, 3 or 4 days. 8K is a bit too much, and I can't play Klay Thompson. I think he's too washed, and I don't want to play Exum. He doesn't do much on offense, offense as far as putting the ball in the basket. PJ Washington's interesting, but he's 7,300. I just don't like the Dallas Mavericks. And Dean, I'll also say, I mentioned it a while back on the show, but there is a distinct correlation between the Rockets defense and Jabari Smith being healthy. When he's hurt, they weren't a good defense. They were bottom, 20 almost, way down there. They weren't even average. They were a little bit below average. But every time he's healthy, the times he's been healthy, they're a top 5 defense. So I'm not on the Dallas train. I prefer the Rockets. Tari Eason at 62, I think, still makes for a good play. Jalen Green is the one who could have a big game tonight. We talked about Şengün. The difference, the separator on DraftKings is one of them is $2,400 less than the other. Love Şengün. Love him on FanDuel a little bit more, I think. He's super expensive on DraftKings, and Green's a lot less expensive. So, and against Dallas, I don't think it's a Dylan Brooks game. I don't think it's a Fred VanVleet game. I think it's one of the younger guys. So that's where I'm at. Hey, it might be a Jabari Smith game. So I'd figure out how to play one or two of the younger guys on the Rockets, and I'm probably fading Dallas.
I'm surprised you say that the defense, it doesn't revolve around Amen. I feel like Amen is a big.
No, he's very good. But even when Amen, without Jabari, they're still way too small. They were playing Amen.
Philadelphia ruled everybody out.
Oubrey's out. Okay. Well, you got you some value.
Oubre, Edwards, they all have body parts.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. You could just throw some of that. The problem with that is it really doesn't matter. You already had a ton of value anyway. Now you're just kind of you can't have an 8-man roster there of all, players below 4K. So I don't know that even moves the needle. It might actually just take that game completely off the board. That should be a real blowout now.
They might be down to Butler, Yabusele. So, okay, 3 of our projected starters, Edwards, Oubre, Drummond, all just ruled out. So we had Butler, Yabusele projected to start, and that's 2. Downton's 3, Council's 4, Bona 5, Reese 6, Hood Shafino 7, and off the streets, shouldn't say that because I'm sure he's got a lovely house. Brissett is number 8, and you got to have 8, so that's probably their 8. Where was O'Shea Brissett? Where was he playing? I don't know, but he's got an instant revenge game, and he might get some run, but I don't think you can roster him. I'm pretty sure he's not available anywhere, but it looks like they're going to have 8. Yeah. Okay. What a mess. You know what it was? My theory. If I'm gonna, they're like, wait a second, Pascal's playing? Okay, we gotta sit everybody down. We gotta shut it down. Actually, no, they probably. I don't know. I don't know what was happening there. That doesn't make any sense. But we will move on, and we'll get we'll hit the refresh soon enough, and see how things.
Just to clean something up real quick, Dean.
Yeah.
O'Shea Brissett's been in the league for about 4 years now. 5 years. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I feel like yeah. I know he's been a pacer.
He's got like over $7 million in career earnings.
Well, that's what I said. I corrected myself. Like I don't like when people use like they always say like, oh, I got this guy. They signed this guy off the streets. Like this guy was in the league for 12 years and has $100 million. He's probably got a nice couch.
Yeah, then won't be home. He's in good shape.
Yeah. So I did the thing I don't like when people do. So I was basically calling myself out.
Yeah, so just in the chat, Mr. Richard, Council ? Yeah, this is like a Ricky Council type of game. Just who's the guy that did we talked about it last show, I think. Did the triple-double off the backboard, his own backboard on purpose.
Ricky Davis.
He kind of reminds me a little of Ricky Davis. Ricky Council, Ricky Davis. Think about that for a minute.
Is that a compliment? Like, somebody says you remind me of Ricky Davis? Is that good? Or there's some good
could be there. It could be a bunch of empty stuff. So Council is in play, yes, Mr. Richard. And Mr. Richard also says Bona ? Well, they don't have very many big guys, but Bona was a defensive specialist and still is. Not much offense provided there, but if he's going to get a ton of time, I guess. Yeah, I mean, you got to limit yourself to like just 1 or 2 of those Philly 76ers, though.
Would they split him like 50-50, but Yabusele, would they play him together? Maybe they play him together. I don't know. Speaking of that, like the Ricky Davis comp, I saw a commercial the other day for a movie, and it said, from the team that brought you the beekeeper. You go, for the team that brought you the beekeeper. Does that make you want Does that make you want to see a movie more or less when you hear that tagline from the team that brought you from the makers of Beekeeper? It's like, what? Okay, I don't want to see it. You already lost me right away.
You're saying Beekeeper wasn't good for you?
I saw like 50 minutes and it fell asleep, so I didn't revisit it. But I'm just sort of like, is that going to hook you? Is that going to? The guys that did Beekeeper, they're getting the band back together, and it's Jason Statham, and he's like an ordinary man.
There you go. You sold me right there. That's all you had to say.
I buried the lead. He's got a lot of not great movies, Jason Statham. But all right, it makes sense. You're a Statham guy. Well, you like him probably the Fast and the Furious stuff, I assume.
I like a lot of his stuff. He's just an action star, man. Just an action guy.
Thomas, we'll touch on FanDuel. Yeah, Crunch Time's going to go position by position on FanDuel. I saw that question there pop up in chat. Yes, FanDuel will be covered. We're on not us, but like the team is on all the way up to 7 o'clock on the East Coast. So going game by game and kind of working our way up right now. But I did want to mention on Dallas, last 15 games, this kind of checks out. They had the worst rebounding percentage in all of basketball, 44.6%. Just really, really vulnerable in the glass because they don't have a lot of tall people.
Got some air horn news for you, Dean.
Is it Boston?
Yep.
Zinger's out. Yeah.
Brown's out too.
Okay, and they're going to flip tomorrow, right? Zinger plays tomorrow. Horford plays 6 tomorrow, and Tatum probably 6 tomorrow, and we probably get Brown. Why am I talking about tomorrow? Tonight. All we care about tonight and tonight only. Tatum is in. Brown is out. Zinger is out. White is in. Horford is available. So, yeah, projections will adjust, and I assume Tatum would probably look pretty good. We're talking about not having a ton of studs in this slate, especially if we have the salary for it. I think Tatum's going to project pretty well, but we'll see. We'll give it a refresh, the projection teams on top of it, 10 minutes or so, lineup HQ, and see what is spit out. But I feel pretty good about Tatum's projection. 2 games left. Anything else as far as Houston and Dallas? Are we moving along?
Moving on.
All right. By the way, the fourth clue, Chop. I know you got the answer. Shout out to you. The fourth clue on Film Friday. Grass, planet, serve. The fourth clue, Chop. Grady. Grady is the fourth clue. Grady is the fourth clue.
if had I not known what's going on here, that would have just totally thrown me off. I mean, it makes sense.
Really? I thought that would get you there. I was trying to help you out, but
there's a lot of ways that could go.
Yeah, but you see what I'm doing, right?
Yeah, I could have kind of got your hint, and I could have said Boogie Nights myself.
That is correct. All right. Cleveland and Memphis, 244 is the total, high and tight, right? Cleveland is a 2-point favorite here versus the Grizz. Some key players are sitting out. Most notably is Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's out. They gave him a groin. Speaking of DeAndre Hunter is probable with his illness. Otherwise for Cleveland, they're clean though. It's just Mitchell being out. And again, I keep stressing this. And it didn't really play out last time, at least for Garland it didn't. For other players it did. Cleveland typically is pushing their minutes down for their stars because they're locked in the one. Garland put up like 35, 36 minutes and just went crazy and completely buried me because I got too cute and did not play him. We were projecting 33 minutes, 34 for Mobley. Mobley projects awesome. He'll be even better if Jackson doesn't play. Jaren Jackson's questionable. I think he's doubtful. I'm wrong sometimes on these. I don't think he plays. He's ahead of his schedule, like what typically is the schedule, the return time for a sprain. So I do not think he plays, but we'll see. Stay tuned. Santi Aldama also out for Memphis. Otherwise, they are clean. Cleveland, Memphis, this is the other game, Chop, one of the more popular games on the board. Do you like it? Are we leaning in?
Yeah, I do like it. I like it. If you want, my prop for this game was Ty Jerome over on the points when Mitchell got ruled out. So that's that. But I like Ty Jerome in DFS. Love some Darius Garland in DFS. Love some Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. Play whatever you want. I see a comment in chat from Lip says DeAndre Hunter. Sure, DeAndre Hunter okay tonight. He takes a little bit lesser than those other guys I just mentioned. But I like them a lot because not only is Mitchell out, which is good for them, and it's a little bit too early in this. It's a little bit too early to be like completely starting to rest guys and think about minutes restrictions. Like if they're going to play, they're going to play. Like I get it, like the last week of the season, getting ready for the playoffs, but we're kind of not at that point yet. So if these guys are active, I assume they're going to play. And Memphis, man, this matchup is good. Memphis is not – they can push you on offense. They make you keep up with them, and they're not a very good defensive team. So I love those Cleveland Stars right there. I don't know if I list Ty Jerome as a star, but I like him as a secondary player. On the Memphis side, a little bit less because the defense for Cleveland's okay. But, yeah, to keep up with this team, it's going to take a good game out of Bane or Morant. Pick one. This actually feels like maybe a Zach Edey game, unless he gets into some kind of trouble here. But Zach Edey could come to play here against the Twin Towers. I think it's a good game here, man.
I mean, I think he gets worked by Mobley and Allen if he's out there. So, I mean, I see what you're saying as far as needing his size and his height, but it makes me think like, man, I want all the minutes of Mobley and Allen against him, if that makes sense. Yeah, and Mobley's projecting really, really hard. We did get an update as far as projections. I assume this is including the Boston update. I'm going to see how that changes overall stuff. And before we were just getting a bunch of Spurs and a bunch of Cleveland guys and a little bit of Philadelphia sprinkled in. It's going to be those four teams, I think. It's going to be Cleveland and the Spurs and some Philly and some Boston. That's my guesstimation. Yeah. So just sort of running a bunch of lineups on DK, most popular players. Philadelphia, Cleveland, Philly, Cleveland, San Antonio, Cleveland, Philly, San Antonio. Some Boston starts coming in here. But, yeah, it's really, really condensed as far as this slate. Somebody was asking in chat about Hunter on DK or his ownership. He's not going to be popular. Cleveland's popular, but Hunter not so much. So if you like him, he's kind of just yours. I'm not saying he's a bad play per se, but he's not a good math play. They still have plenty of wings with Strus and Okoro, Hunter, Jerome, their six man. Merrill's out there as well. He's available, but I don't think Jackson plays. So you're talking about, and I think that also leads to me liking Mobley and Allen more too. And certainly he can. And it's similar if I'm playing several players on San Antonio, I'm kind of running it back with somebody on Charlotte. If I'm playing 2 or 3 Cavs, I want to pick one of these Grizz to run it back with. And ideally it's Bane or Morant with Jackson out. That's sort of my thought process. So I see TJ popping up in chat. TJ is going to be filling in for beer. I don't know when that happened. Ooh. I must have goofed and read the schedule wrong. But TJ, you guys know TJ, one of the greatest DFS players in all Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. He's jumping in to hang out with Noto and Roth in about 15, 20 minutes or so. We have one more game on this main slate. What do you got?
Just want to break some news here for you. My guy, Jawan Roberts, is in a boot. He's not playing tonight for Houston. They're really thin in the front court. BYU is one of the hottest teams in the country. 116 out of the last 17. Now it's a bad matchup stylistically for BYU. Like when Houston played them earlier this year, Houston worked them by 30. But right now, Houston really doesn't seem like they're caring too much about this conference tournament. And now you got a thin front line. I can't bet against my Houston team, but you see what I'm saying? Like
I hear what you're saying.
If I was a betting man, I probably would lean towards BYU tonight. Just a small lean, though. It's still a tough stylistic matchup for them, but that hurts Houston.
And this isn't like an emotional hedge. You're giving like a legit read. And okay.
No, so listen, they've played all year long with 3 guys to cover the 4 and the 5. Just 3 guys. Their starter at center, starter at power forward, and they got 1 big behind him. That's how they played all year. It was not constructed very well. Well, now you just lost your power forward, so now you got 2 guys to cover 2 spots. One of them fouls like at one of the highest rates in the country. So who knows how long Tugler's even going to be in there? It's not good. But again, Dean, this is not an all-in or a 5-star because stylistically BYU has to hit their 3-pointers. that's what they base their offense off of, and that's not a good matchup for them because Houston can still cover the perimeter really well. But you see what I'm saying? It's tougher for Houston now, for sure.
This isn't the highest priority, Chop, and we were talking about like commissioner of sports. The 5 fouls in college basketball. It's just, what are we doing? Give it a 6 foul. What? This is so silly.
They're
the
also,
best players are sitting because of some little ticky-tack nonsense.
And they're also a lot of steam around doing away with the 2 halves and getting into 4 quarters.
Oh, okay. I don't have a lot of passion on that one. But, like, the concept is not like how you – it's just like players like not being able to play, not because they're hurt, but just because they – accidentally hit a guy a couple of times. Like I don't know. I think it's just kind of silly. That goes against what the game actually is. And for the NBA, like I don't know if players even foul out. It's a whole other conversation. Like if your guy has 6 fouls and he fouls somebody, maybe the other team gets like 2 free throws in the ball. Like there's like a big penalty. Let's not kick the best players out of the game. And then something is egregious. You can't just keep hacking the same dude. We'll put in bylaws. But I have a lot of ideas if I'm commissioner of sports, which is never going to happen. All right. Last game on the DK slate, at least. It's there. I mean, we're going to talk about it. But are people going to play players from here? Orlando and Minnesota, 206 is the total. 206, that is paltry. The horrendous Magic offense, less than 100 team total. We did see Banchero come to life last night, absolutely annihilating the front court there of New Orleans. They're on the back half of back-to-back. They're traveling to Minnesota. They're 10-point dogs. Who's in and who's out for this one? Well, we got a late scratch yesterday for Cole Anthony before the game started, but he was announced in the starting lineup and then yanked from the starting lineup. KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, also questionable for rest. We saw Corey Joseph draw the start. I mean, I just don't know what the upside on Corey Joseph is. Like, he didn't really hurt you yesterday. I think he got around 20 points or so. But you're not enthused, ever excited of the roster, Corey Joseph in the year 2025. Just going to keep an eye on that. Minnesota is fully healthy. That's the problem with them. And they're facing an Orlando team that's, kind of a slog of a game. The total speaks to that. They've been great of late, Minnesota. But I don't know how much Orlando can keep up with them. I don't think this game's getting much acknowledgement, if at all, Chop. We're probably I don't think I'm going to play much of it. If any, to be honest. I don't play enough lineups. But what's your approach as far as the Magic and the T-Wolves?
Well, before the show, I didn't like it. Didn't like it very much. But now that we've had the news break during the show that we have, I'm kind of coming around on the stars in this game. Anthony Edwards or Banchero, to a lesser extent, Franz Wagner. I kind of like the stars in this game now. Where else are you going to spend your money at? Harden, okay. Tatum is good. I think these guys are, have a chance. We talked about the teams who are tanking and the bad games that are going on tonight. This theoretically should be 2 teams trying to win, playing at full force here, which could make these stars better than the other stars. So that's where I'm at. Is I kind of like the stars in this game, not so much the other players. But I think Edwards and Carroll going at it could be very interesting. And like before the show, I didn't have any interest in it at all. But I think the roster is starting to take shape to where you're going to jam in a bunch of easy scrubs. And then who are you going to spend the money on to get the big points tonight? There is no elite player. I think Edwards and Banchero have as good a chance as anybody on the slate to be the highest scoring player. So I'm kind of on these guys now.
So optimals right now, Chop, 4 Sixers, 3 Cavs, and a star like LaMelo Ball. That's kind of what I'm seeing right now. 2 or 3 Cavs, if not a Cav like James Harden, or like if not LaMelo, Bridges. Some Spurs are working their way in there as well. I'm surprised Tatum's not really 20% Tatum hitting my lineups. I figure it'd be more than that. Other stars you can spend up on, I guess stars, depending on how liberal we want to use that term, but like Zubac, Bam, but maybe that's stretching that a little bit. To your point, though, it's not like you have Joker. You have Joker on FanDuel, but he's so expensive over there. But you also have the Lakers on FanDuel too. So I'm looking at my I'm looking at my FanDuel lineups too that I've made. Joker's coming in at only 15%. He's almost 13K over there. He's 12.8 for what it's worth. But it's 3 Sixers, a couple Lakers, a Cav, and you have Phoenix as well. So you can get Booker if you want. You can get Durant if you want. It's not that hard. But it is turning into scrubs because Philadelphia is down to 8. Yeah. By the way, Ben Simmons officially available at least to play basketball tonight. And those 8 players for Philly: Jared Butler, Doughton, Ricky Council IV, Gershon Yabusele, Bona, Alex Reese, Hood Schifino, and Brissett, who they just signed. Man, brutal. The Philadelphia fans, they're gonna let this team have it, right? Friday night, I don't know who shows up these days for the Sixers, but wow, biggest failure on the court. Well, yeah, bigger failure than Dallas, probably not, big picture, but because Philadelphia can still rebound, I guess, because they have some young pieces, but they also have some bad contracts. Okay, let's talk about this last game. Well, we just did. It is Orlando and Minnesota. I'm pulling up the ownership stuff here, Chop. Not very popular. I'm seeing some questions in chat, and we can handle those as well. If you have any questions, we're happy to do that. Nobody is getting more than double digits in this game with the exception of Wendell Carter, which I think that might change a little bit. I think that's going to push down. It's been an hour since we've had an updated ownership, and I think that's going to shuffle around. And I think he's one of those guys that's going to fall back a little bit. All right, let's see. Some questions are going to be loading up here in a second. Crunch time coming in about 10 minutes or so. Oh, I should mention, Chop, that you know how much I love March Madness, right? I always hype it up. The shot quality team, they've cooked up something special for the NCAA tournament for March Madness. It's the March Madness Primer. It's a comprehensive betting guide with actionable insights for all 68 tournament teams. The Primer, it's powered by shot quality data, includes features on as far as player profiles, also a ranking for key metrics, live betting charts, much more. Every purchase of a monthly or annual shot quality sub will get you a complimentary primer. The data and analysis only costs $39 and change, but you're getting it for free. Do check out the links in the description. We should also mention baseball is right around the corner. That's why we're talking about the Astros to start the show. By the way, speaking of your Astros, Cam Smith, is that the guy's name, Chop? How excited are we about Cam Smith? Supposedly, he's like going to be a stud. He was the key piece in the Kyle Tucker trade. And he's
very excited about it. He looks like they're a smart team. They know that sending this guy to the minors is going to buy you more time later on down the road. And he's playing so good. They actually have to debate whether to keep him on the major league roster. I'm super excited about him.
Yeah,
I'm happy. Yeah,
I've heard good things, and the little that very little I've seen, I'm like, yeah, this guy looks like a player, but this is on like some terrible small sample size analysis. What people that know are saying like this was a big, possibly a big return from Chicago. So yeah, if you're playing more than one DFS sport, you can get yourself Combo Pro. It's $79 and change for your first month. That's football, baseball, basketball, hockey, NBA, PGA, MMA. Did I say that? All the sports with the exception of NASCAR. NASCAR is a la carte. Some questions coming in here. All right. Adam Bona, sneaky low aim play. Is Butto just doing his thing? Butto's doing his bit. I don't know how owned he's going to be. I don't think he's like fully going to be very popular, but let's see. Yeah, Bona's not. He's like the 5th most popular Sixer, which means he'll still be owned. But I have him behind Council, Butler, Doughton, and Yabusele for what it's worth. CW89 Chop wants to know Council or Jeffries 1v1 on DK. I think that's Council.
Yeah, I'm going for Council there.
Yeah, I mean,
Jeffries. Dean, I got the hook. I got the hook on one of my props, man. I needed it too.
Oh, is a game going on right now? You just got hooked?
At the very end, it's over with right now. I had under 5.5 rebounds. The dude got a rebound at the very end of the game to get him 6, which
brutal.
Ruined my whole parlay. Ruined my whole parlay. I'm done. And I'm going to be tilted the rest of the show.
Are we watching basketball tonight, or are we doing I know you like to watch a movie on Fridays typically.
Well, the thing is, the Houston game starts in about 45 minutes. I can probably squeeze that whole game in before movie night. So yeah, I'll probably watch that. It's wife's going to pick up a little fish. You know, we're going to try the fish tonight. Why not? Give it a shot.
You're questionable for tomorrow.
Well, I'm off tomorrow, so that's why I can do the fish tonight, just in case. But yeah, I'll give it a shot. Definitely going to try. Actually, I did not look. I didn't have time to look to go through the streaming sites and see what dropped today as far as new movies. That's always a good Friday thing to do. So I'm curious to see what dropped today on Friday.
I saw a new Bill Burr special dropped on Hulu. If you're interested in that,
Bill Burr, Burr,
the comedian Bill Burr.
He's funny. I like him.
Yeah. I just saw that. It's not a movie, but somebody's asking in chat, Council or Dalton. Man, what a March question. Our projections are pretty similar. Our projection for Council is 33 minutes, 31 DK points. Dalton, 34 minutes, 29 DK points. Very, very close. Electric State has dropped on Netflix. TJ's mentioning. Supposedly, it's the most expensive, worst movie ever made.
Electric State. Which one is that?
Millie Bobby Brown.
Oh yeah, that's on there. Oh, that's movie.
I don't want to tell you. I have no idea, but it's supposed to be a massive waste of money.
It looks like I'm just looking for something to keep me entertained for 2 hours. And you get Chris Pratt. I'm okay with that. I think he's entertaining.
Oh, TJ watched The Accountants. Was that my recommendation? It's a very good. It's a sneaky good movie. Nobody talks about with Ben Affleck.
Oh, I like The Accountant. Yeah,
it's like Born Identity, kind of, sort of. Yeah,
he's got a little autism in him. He can do the math real fast, but he's also like real good with guns and fighting. Yeah. Not sure. I like stuff like that.
Yeah, I think there's a sequel coming as well. I'm not sure. Well, I guess they kind of. Well, I don't want to give anything away. All right, Crunch Time will be coming in a few minutes. Again, it's Roth, it's Dodo, it is TJ. If there's more questions. Derek says, how many Sixers max for DK tournaments? I might stop it at 3. I might. Optimals are giving you 4. I'm not sure.
If I was running the optimizer like that with a bunch of lineups, I would max 3 of them in GPPs.
They are just so cheap is the key, right? Downton's 3.5, Butler 4.6, Council's 3.7, Yabusele 5.1, which is like, I understand why 4 are coming in, but I think there's other good stuff. And it also there's an opportunity cost at some point where it's keeping you from other players that are going to hit some optimal games. So how about Cleveland? I don't think I'm going to, that's another question. Like, will I play 3 Cleveland? I might keep it at 2. If I play 3 Cleveland, it'll be with Ja or Bane, assuming Triple J is out, but he's questionable. Is that where you're at as well? I don't think I'm going to play 3 Cleveland.
Definitely max them out at 2 in my builds if I was doing that.
Yeah, maybe like just put all those rules in, right? But make sure you have at least one. What's going to happen? You're going to play at least 1 Philly, at least 1 Cleveland, and at least 1 San Antonio. I might force that. And again, if I play a couple San Antonio, I'm going to run it back with Bridges or Ball. That's it's kind of a rules slate for me if you haven't figured. And that's kind of where I'm at. Do you have a player that's like everything it's not hitting is off the board? That like it's an 8-game slate. And again, the FanDuel stuff they'll talk about in a second. Just be aware that the Lakers, there's no Luka. A lot of players are ruled out for the Lakers, and they're in the back half of a back-to-back. They're in the midst of 4 games in 5 nights, 6 games in 8 nights, in part because of the fire games. They had to reschedule some stuff. DFS is officially doubtful. I assume they punt this game off fully. It's going to be like a 17-point line when all is said and done. But he's doubtful, not officially ruled out. Trey Jameson's questionable. They might let him go today. Gabe Vincent, who played last night, also doubtful. Sabonis didn't play last game, but maybe he's getting closer. He's questionable. Trey Lyles questionable. We saw Valanciunas start last game, but to get benched in lieu of Trey Lyles starting the second half. He got exposed. Valanciunas, that is. Toronto and Utah, I don't want to talk about it. I'm gonna leave that for Noto. Those 2 teams, seriously, it's going to be a disaster. I know Noto's coming in, and I was reading. Well, we'll save it. We'll save it when Noto comes on. But he was talking about today in his article, in the Core Plays article, that he is going to the game. Let's ask him that. But before we do that, Chop, tell me who's breaking the slate. Who's breaking the slate tonight?
I got to get ambitious. I was going to give you Garland, but that's a lot of ownership. Let's go out there on the limb a little bit. Let's go Jalen Green. Jalen Green as the breaker of the slate tonight.
All right, let's do it. We teased it. Crunch time. Roth, Noto, TJ. Crunch time right now. All right, so Noto, I read your article today. I know you're going to the Utah game. You know the situation. We don't have to ever with Utah. Are you rooting for Utah? Are you in the building actively rooting for Toronto? Are you rooting for Utah like secretly? Or have you taught your child about tanking and why you should be rooting for the other team?
Yeah, so I won't be rooting for anything. We'll probably be out of there by the end of the third quarter. But yeah, I mean, we're going for some free dinner, some drinks. Little one, I mean, he could care less about the basketball. He likes the cheerleaders, loves to get on the Jumbotron. He's a big attention guy. So yeah, he'll be doing all that. They like to find the Jazz Bear, do all that fun stuff. So this is more of a family outing than a rooting outing, but obviously want them to lose at this point.
Yeah. But I always find it hilarious when the crowd goes nuts, like and they hit like a buzzer beater, and like, don't you guys know that? I mean, you're caught up in the moment, whatever. But like, and is Jazz Bear still working? Is he still doing double duty? Is he still working with the Utah Hockey Club as well?
Yep, still there. So I don't know if it's the same guy or what, but yeah, he's a good mascot.
It's a big year for Jazz Bear. All right, TJ, my bad. I didn't realize you were late swapped in, but welcome.
Fine.
Did you want to give your 15-second review of The Accountant?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought the story fell a little flat to me at the end, but I just, for one, love John Bernthal. He's becoming one of my favorite actors. And the action was really cool. I enjoyed it a lot. Anna Kendrick was awesome in it.
She's delightful. Yeah, it's a good movie. I liked it. Roth, how are things? Happy Friday.
Things are good. I had to Google John Bernthal. He's the Punisher.
Yeah.
He's good.
He's
awesome.
Walking Dead.
Well, the Walking Dead. Yeah, Walking Dead works as well. Yeah.
Yes,
he's good.
The Bear.
Oh, yeah.
The Brother.
Yeah. And The Accountant.
Okay.
Oh, and you know what?
The Accountant 2.
Is The Accountant the Ben Affleck movie?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
He's not the main guy. He was also in today's Film Friday. He was actually in King Richard too. So
there you go. Yeah. He's a tennis coach.
Yeah, that's he gets a lot of work, that Barenthal, but he's excellent. He's really, really good. All right, Chop, we got to step aside. We got to get out of here. We can make way for crunch time. They got 40 minutes to get all the information out. Appreciate y'all watching. Hit that like button. Do not go anywhere. You got Roth, you got TJ, you got Noto. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's crunch time. It's two of the sharpest minds in the biz. The aforementioned Derek Farnsworth, or as you know him, Noto, in the house. Noto, how you feeling, man?
Yeah, doing good. Just been moving my girlfriend in the house, so it's been a busy week, but yeah, everything's going good. I need to catch up on the last 2 hours of injury news. Do we have any big news that have dropped, you or TJ?
TJ is the man for that. TJ, let us know what's dropped, what is still dropping. Catch me up.
Okay, still to drop, not a lot. We got Jaren Jackson Jr. is questionable. I don't know if you're ready for the rundown of who's already out, but Kristaps Porzingis out, Jaylen Brown out, Justin Edwards out, Andre Drummond out, Kelly Oubre out, Jalen Williams out, Chet Holmgren out, Noah Clowney out, Quentin Grimes out. Long story short, Philadelphia has 8 players. Philadelphia has 8 players. So these are all the guys out. It's Philadelphia. So we're playing 76ers. We're playing Cavs because they're without Donovan Mitchell. We're playing Celtics because they're without Jaylen Brown and Porzingis. We're playing Spurs because they're without Wemby and Fox. And then mixing in whoever the heck else we want. But lots and lots of value. And lots and lots of 76ers, Cavs, Spurs, and Celtics.
Nice. If anybody's sweating some golf, Justin Thomas today went from being +6 to -10 today. What a round.
What? Wow. How is that even possible? You just get a birdie every hole, essentially? That's insane.
16-stroke difference between the 2 days for him.
Wow, that is amazing. All right, I don't really care about golf, but I know enough to know that's super impressive. Let's talk about what we're doing here, guys. We've got 37-ish minutes.
Is even going to make the cut? That's the one last golf thing I need to know. Is even going to make the cut?
Oh, no, even won't. -1 might not. It's like 50-50 right now for -1.
All right, so my teams aren't looking too good. Is what you're telling me.
A lot of
And
chalk.
then there's withdrawal issues in golf, right? Like sometimes right at the start of a tournament, a guy's like, yeah, I'm not golfing. And then he's 10 or 15% owned. And you're like, well,
Yep, happened this week with Jason Day.
yeah. I don't know, that would kind of piss me off. I dabble in the golf for the majors. And of course, Noto, I always, see what you're putting out there. I appreciate your content. But we need to dive into what we're doing here on this slate. We like to start on FanDuel. We like to start at point guard. Noto, lead us off. What are you playing over there?
All right. So, yeah, obviously I like the Cavs situation. No Donovan Mitchell. So I like Darius Garland quite a bit. 7.5K is good. He sees a 0.13 fantasy point per minute boost without Mitchell on the floor. And even with Mitchell out, they still have a team total that's higher than their season average. So it's a great matchup against Memphis. They're first in pace this season. I like Garland quite a bit. I like Jared Butler for value. Jeff Doughton too. Looks like they're both projected for 34, 35 minutes, and they're both cheap. So the problem on FanDuel is going to be positional eligibility. Like we can only roster 2 of them, and I want to play 4 of them maybe. So that's going to be the toughest decision there. I'll probably end up playing Garland with one of the Philly guys in single entry stuff, and then use Castle over a shooting guard. But yeah, if you want to get different in tournaments, you can spend up on James Harden. Great matchup against Atlanta. Norman Powell's still out for them, and he's been awesome over the last few weeks. And then we got the Boston situation with Brown and Porzingis out. If you want to go with Derek White at low ownership. But I think single entry, you kind of take it easy, or you don't think too much about it. You play a Philly guy, you play Garland, move on to shooting guard.
Okay, easy enough. TJ, you on board?
Yeah, he nailed it. I think specifically on FanDuel, it's a very important thing to do today to say anybody who has shooting guard eligibility, I will make sure I don't play them at point guard. They will only be played at shooting guard because point guard is just too strong today. Mm-hmm. And that's probably exactly what I would do too, is play either Butler or Doughton. Butler is obviously the killer cash game option. Doughton is the lower owned tournament pivot. And then play Darius Garland or Ty Jerome. Darius Garland, the cash game option. Ty Jerome, the tournament pivot. Anybody else will be super low owned today. So like Chris Paul is in a good spot with no De'Aaron Fox. LaMelo Ball and James Harden are great spend up options. Peyton Pritchard at 5'5" could hit 10 threes with no Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis. So all of these options are really good and nobody's going to be playing them. However, even like if I was playing 3 lineups, I still would only be using the four guys, the Philly and Cavs.
Wow. Okay. Good stuff. How about shooting guard, TJ?
Shooting guard position, still a strong spot. We're going to have Jordan Goodwin pop in as Mega Chalk on FanDuel. The game's not available on DraftKings, smaller slate on DraftKings, but Goodwin at 4.2 is looking like the cash game option. We're currently projecting Ricky Council to be much lower owned than Goodwin for $100 cheaper. I love that as a tournament pivot if that will be the case. I can see their ownerships being closer together, but I like Council as a pivot off of Goodwin. Council's tougher to get to on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings because FanDuel is just shooting guard eligibility, but on DraftKings, he's small forward, power forward. Dalton Connect is looking good. I'd rather play him at small forward. Austin Reeves is looking fine. I'd rather play him at small forward. I love Derek White for tournament. I think Stephon Castle is going to be a priority for me here at this spot, though.
Okay. Noto, your thoughts?
You are muted.
You're muted.
Classic amateur move there. Yeah, I was in alignment with TJ on pretty much everything with that shooting guard position. So I think Goodwin's a great play. No Luka, no LeBron. A bunch of other guys are missing there. So I like him. I love Austin Reeves, but again, play him over at small forward. Just not as many options over there. And then kind of the same thing with Connect too. So I would play Castle for single entry. I think it's a good spot to get him since, he is a point guard, but you can play him as shooting guard. So I like that with Fox out and Wemby out. And then for like large field stuff, just not sure you need to go too deep. You can definitely play Vassell, kind of for the same reason we like all the other Spurs. He's just a little bit more expensive. He's got that higher ceiling. He can get you 50. We've seen him put up 72 the other night against Brooklyn. So maybe play him in tournaments. And I like Council too, but I do want to see what Philly's starting lineup looks like.
Yeah. Okay. How about small forward?
Yeah, so I talked about two of my favorites, both on the Lakers. It's a pace-up matchup against Denver. Connect and Reeves, both should see minutes in the 30s. This game does have some blowout potential now that Luka's not going to play. It's back-to-back, but they really don't have a lot of bodies. And if they keep it relatively close, you got to think both those guys are going to have big games. So I like them. Talked about Vassell. If you're playing up, Jason Tatum with Porzingis and Jaylen Brown both out makes a lot of sense. And then I've been playing a lot of Kawhi Leonard lately with Norman Powell out. He's seen a huge usage boost without Powell on the floor this season. He's played 36, 37, 40, and 36 minutes. So earlier in the season, we were worried about his minutes. Now he's playing, as many as he can handle. Love the matchup against Atlanta. Only 15% ownership on FanDuel. So he's kind of my favorite small forward tournament play. And then Miles Bridges, he's just been on fire, 54 plus in 4 straight games. You can keep playing him too.
Okay, good stuff. TJ, your favorite's a small forward? I mean, sounds like a lot of options.
I have literally nothing to add. I wanted to make sure to bring up Kawhi Leonard and Miles Bridges as spend-ups. Connect and Reeves are probably the optimal options here, but I love, instead spending up to Kawhi and Bridges. Keldon Johnson is a good pivot off of them. I even think you can play Banchero at super low ownership. And then Devin Vassell, another guy I really like.
Okay, well then take us to power forward.
Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. This is the Cavs spot where things really start getting interesting. I think you want to be playing in a cash game format. I'd probably play both of these guys today, but I'll leave that more to Noto. That is, he's on court plays. He knows what he's doing in that more than I do. Yabusele is going to be a fade for me. This is going to be the one chalky guy that I'm mostly going without today. I think even though they only have 8 guys, if anyone is going to play low minutes, I think it's going to be Yabusele. He has seen limited minutes every now and then in these few games. And even with all these players out, like the last time Yabusele had a usage rate over 20% in a game was over a month ago. Like he just doesn't do a whole lot. So he's going to be a guy I'm fading. I want to load up on Mobley. I want to load up on Allen. Jason Tatum as a spend up, I absolutely love. And then Kawhi Leonard, you can play here at power forward as well.
Okay. Noto, your thoughts at power forward. And he mentioned Mobley and Allen together.
Yeah, you certainly can. I love Mobley. I ended up just tagging him just now on FanDuel just because power forward is not as good as some of the other positions. And you can play him at center too, but I definitely like him at power forward. I kind of agree on Yabusele. I mean, his floor is not what you might think it is. I know the minutes have been there, but I mean, he played 31 minutes the other night, put up 14 fantasy points, played 28 minutes the last game in a great matchup against Atlanta, only 16 fantasy points. So if he's going to be the chalk at power forward, I'll pivot. I like Miles Bridges, love Kawhi Leonard. Mentioned those two as kind of my favorite tournament plays on the board. And yeah, Tatum, strong cash game option. So there's a lot of good plays here. Not sure I'll go to Vanderbilt. The minutes will be there, but he's just not a high usage guy either. So I do worry about he could be one of those guys that plays 30 minutes and gets you 15 fantasy points or something. But yeah, Jarrett Allen
out for Dallas, which we're not really caring about Dallas, I don't think anyways, but PJ Washington is out.
Okay.
It's like the one piece that maybe would make you care, but probably still not.
No, he's been out for a really long time, though. This was
okay.
basically just going to be his first game back.
Okay, so prices are already inflated, so yeah, we really don't care.
Najee Marshall's over 8K.
Yeah.
Okay, Castle starting. That's good to see.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to center. Noto, what are we doing there?
Yeah, center. If you're not playing Mobley at power forward, I'd get him at center. Bona for Philly. I think I like him a lot more than Yabusele because we've seen the upside on a per minute basis from him. The usage rate has been pretty high. It's been above 20% in 3 of his last 6 games. And I mean, 4.2K is a really good price point. So I think I'd rather go with him over Yabusele. And that's really it for me. I only play one lineup, so I'm not getting too cute. But yeah, Zubats against Atlanta is always viable. Their front court's really bad. Capella is still out. Orlando Robinson's been on a tear recently. If I was playing anyone from that game, I used to, whenever I'd go to a game, I'd make sure to get someone from that game in my lineups just so I had something to cheer for. I don't do that anymore, but I mean, he's been awesome. 51 fantasy points the other night against Philly. They're trying to lose, so they don't need to play Pirtle very much. And is Pirtle even?
He's out.
He's out, right, for rest after he played like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I like Robinson, Bona, and Mobley at center.
Okay, well, you mentioned Bona. He is starting. Dean pointing out in the chat, Sixers starting Butler, Doughton, Council, the Dancing Bear, Yabusele, and Bona. And Tasteful Tides in the chat pointing out KCP, Cole Anthony, and Kai Jones are all out. TJ, if you have anything to comment there, go for it. If not, take us to center.
No, the value is just better everywhere else. So like I'm not playing any Dallas guys at all. Maybe I would keep Najee Marshall in my pool. I don't mind that idea. Did I keep him in my pool? No, it doesn't look like he's there. But I think Najee Marshall is totally fine. I'm not playing any Orlando players other than maybe Franz or Banchero, just because the value is way better everywhere else. Like Noto said, if you're not playing Mobley at power forward, it's definitely at center. I do think Adem Bona is probably the top option there, though, today. Orlando Robinson at 5'4". Great. Jared Allen. If you're, to me, playing one of Allen or Mobley in every lineup tonight. If you want to get really different in tournaments, some Walker Kessler, I think, is really interesting option. He doesn't play a ton of minutes, but the last time he played Toronto, he had 25 rebounds. And so basically the same spot tonight. So Walker Kessler, I think, is in a super interesting option. You can always play Nikola Jokic. He's going to be really low owned. That's it.
Mobley ownership coming in at over 40%. Why is he such a smash play, and is that a viable fade? Are you getting off of him and being like, okay, now I'm up on 40% of the field? TJ, you have any interest in that, or you're just playing him?
No, I have 49% Mobley. His usage goes way up without Donovan Mitchell in the lineup.
Yeah. Okay. Noto, just playing him?
Yeah, I'm playing him. Again, their team total is really high given the matchup against Memphis. Might see a nice matchup boost too if Jackson ends up being out. So yeah, I'm on board with Mobley.
Okay, good stuff, guys. I want to kick it over to DraftKings. Before I do that, if you're playing multiple DFS sports, then you need to check out this deal for a limited time. Get your first month of Combo Pro, $79.99. It's just $15 more than PGA Premium. It's only $5 more than NBA Premium. That's the way to go. Also, if you are an NCAA tournament fan, if you like dancing, a little March Madness primer is available here. It's a comprehensive betting guide with actionable insights to all 68 teams. The primer is powered by shot quality data, which, you know, if you don't know what shot quality is, you're missing out. Shot quality team is fantastic. It's got player profiles, rankings for key metrics, live betting charts, and more. Every purchase of a monthly or annual shot quality subscription will come with a complimentary primer. The data analysis normally costs $39.99, but you're getting it for free when you sign up. And we will have the link right there in the YouTube or in the chat. With that, let's kick it to DraftKings. TJ, are there any notable differences, like right off the bat? Are there anything that stands out as different between the two sites?
Yeah, the slate is totally different because there's 4 more games on FanDuel that are not on DraftKings. So very different slates, but it is still all aboard the Cavs train, all aboard the 76ers train. The biggest difference is we're also all aboard the Laker train on FanDuel, and those players are not available here on DraftKings. So point guard position, it's a tie for me, highest owned between 3 guys: Ty Jerome, Jared Butler, and Darius Garland. Jerome is the guy that I'm going big time over the field on. I do anytime he's going to pick up extra minutes. I absolutely love him. He doesn't need, for 24 minutes, he's projecting for 30 plus fantasy points. If he happens to close and that goes up to 30, which I think there's a good chance because they have Isaac Okoro in the starting lineup, he could absolutely smash his price tag. So I'm way overweight on Ty Jerome. 50% of each hit him, Butler and Garland, 40% Doughton, 38% Castle, 30% Pritchard and White, 20% Chris Paul. And then I'm trying to get to some LaMelo Ball, James Harden, and John Morant to spend up. So LaMelo is the guy that I like best. And then just tournament inclusions, because I'm playing 150 lineups. Hood Schifino for 76ers. He has not played since December 1st. He's a G League guy. They have 8 players available, right? So if the mega chalk of 73% Jared Butler fails, maybe they got blown out by 40 plus points and Hood Schifino plays the entire fourth quarter. Like, you never know. So I have him a little bit of Halliburton, a little bit of Trae Young, a little bit of Dyson Daniels.
Good stuff. Noto, I'm looking at Butler and Castle, and they've got the full RotoGrinders rainbow tags here. I assume you are on board with those dudes.
Yep, I will note you can play Butler as shooting guard, so that helps. right now I'm playing 4 point guards. 2 of them are shooting guard eligible. I just can't decide whether I want to play Dowden or Ty Jerome. I know TJ likes Jerome quite a bit. The per minute production's awesome. Dowden a little bit cheaper, higher minute projection. Do you have a favorite between those two, TJ, for small field stuff?
I don't know. It's so hard because I like Jerome for his tournament ownership best, but like Dowden is just so wildly cheap that I'm totally okay getting more of him. Like I'm trying to actually build a single entry lineup right now, and it's probably going to have both.
Okay. So then you'd leave out Garland, Castle, or Butler.
Castle is looking like the guy to get left out right now, which I'm not feeling great about, but that's where it stands.
Yeah, right now I have Jerome as the odd man out of the 5, but yeah, all great plays: Butler, Doughton, Garland, Castle, Jerome. I like them all. If you are playing a bunch of lineups, you can get LaMelo Ball with your Spurs stacks. If you're not playing Miles Bridges, I think I'm going to go with Bridges over Ball. He's been a little bit better recently. I talked about Harden as a play on FanDuel. I don't think anybody's going to play him over on DraftKings just because it's hard to get him with the positional scarcity there. And then, opportunity cost. That's really it. I mean, Chris Paul would be a chalky play any other slate at 4.9K without Fox, but I don't think I can get there tonight.
Now, there's Pritchard with the Boston news as well. Interest there, but again, just too many dudes you want at that spot.
Yeah, I never loved Miami games in general. But yeah, any other slate, he'd probably be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Okay. How about shooting guard? I assume we're about to say some of the same names like Butler, Castle, Pritchard, White.
Yep. So I'll have Butler or Castle in my shooting guard spot for sure for single entry. And then, I mean, that's really it for me. I'd rather play Vassell at small forward. Derek White, again, projects well, but probably not going to get there for my type of contest. So really nothing else to add on shooting guard.
Okay. TJ, we know what the chalk is here. Is there anything you're interested in outside of kind of that Butler-Castle duo? And you mentioned you might not even end up with Castle.
Yeah, Castle I still have 40% of in large field, but those are my 2 highest. Then it's Pritchard and Derek White. I have 30% of each of them. Love them both today. We'll be way overweight on them. Devin Vassell, I'll be a little probably around equal to the field. And then the only other players in the pool at the position are Desmond Bain, Dyson Daniels, and Anthony Edwards, and they're all single digits.
Yeah, good stuff. How about small forward, TJ?
Ricky Council, I'm getting 70% of him. He is just so damn cheap. That small forward, power forward eligibility is so nice because the positions are not that strong. So he's my highest owned player, 70% Ricky Council. Next at the position is Jason Tatum, getting you over 30% of him. And then basically an even split of Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Daquan Jeffries, Kawhi Leonard. Only other guys in the pool and are all 10% or less are Strus, Hunter, both on the Cavs, and Franz Wagner.
Okay. Noda, your thoughts on small forward?
Last thing I'll say is even with this being an 8-game slate, this is the smallest pool for MME I've had the entire season. I have 38 players in my player pool for 150 lineups.
Why is that? You just love the chalk, essentially? You are on board with the plays?
Yeah, for the most part. And there's some of the chalk I'm over on, some of the chalk I'm under on, but it's just felt very easy to identify, like, these are the clear best games. I know I will want 3+ players from them. I'll find different ways to get different within that. And center position is going to be a really good example of that, actually. But just like when teams have 8 players available, you got to go all in. Like, you have no choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of which, we did get a question, TJ, real quick. Any Pacers on the other side of that? Like, if you're going all in, are you bringing it back?
Halliburton is the only one in the pool.
Okay. Noda, your thoughts on small forward?
Yeah, it kind of depends on roster construction for me. So if I'm playing a bunch of cheap guards and I'd probably want to spend up at small forward, you can spend up on Kawhi or Tatum. And then if I can spend up at one of the point guard spots, then I'll probably end up going with Council. So that's going to be a 2v2 that I have to make. It's going to be a tough one too. So not sure where to lean there, but I think Council's the best point per dollar option by a mile. And then you have Vassell, Tatum, and Kawhi, who I'll like quite a bit.
Keldon Johnson in your pool or not?
He's not. He would be most slates, but not tonight just because, it's hard to pay $47 for him when you can get 10 more minutes at $3,700 from Council,
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. How about power forward, Noto?
Yeah, again, we got Mobley. Great play against Memphis, and he helps spend some of that salary that we need with so many good value plays on the board. Council, power forward eligible as well. And then that's pretty much it for my single entry stuff. You can go with Tatum. The nice part about Tatum is he just helps you just get a bunch of value with the rest of your lineup. So you just lock Tatum and kind of run the optimal. You're going to like what you see because you're not going to have to pick between all the value plays. You can kind of fit them all in there. I like Bridges against the Spurs. I'm playing a bunch of San Antonio, so I kind of want to bring it back. That game's probably my favorite game environment as a whole, and he's been on fire. Usage rate's been through the roof, 54 plus in 5 of those last 6. So I like Bridges, Mobley, Council, and Tatum is my top 4.
Okay. TJ, your thoughts at power forward?
Yeah, a lot of the same small forward guys. Ricky Council, Jason Tatum, Keldon Johnson, DeCon Jeffries, Kawhi Leonard. But Evan Mobley is 49% for me, getting to an absolute ton of him. So he's second highest owned for me there behind Ricky Council. Miles Bridges, really like for tournaments. Like Noto said, he's been on fire. Kawhi Leonard, we both talked about and liked. I'll be over on Paolo Banchero, whichever one it is. And then Julius Randle, Jeremy Sohan, DeAndre Hunter, the only other guys in there.
Okay. That brings us to the center position. TJ, what are we doing there?
Lots of Jared Allen. Why did I have this as no? I didn't mean to have no Evan Mobley at the center position, but that's currently how I have it. Oh, well, it wasn't even by design. It's just how it naturally worked. Interesting. So with Dembona is my highest owned at 35%. I'm getting to a lot of Jared Allen as well. He's going to be my next highest owned. Third is going to be Alex Reese, the backup for a Dembona, because really, do we know for sure it's going to be 32 minutes of a Dembona tonight? What if he gets in foul trouble? And so Alex Reese is a guy I'm going to be way over the field on. I love him for tournaments. I threw him in my single entry lineup, 3K flat. Only other big man on the team with him and Yabusele. I love Vita Zubac for tournaments, and then just a touch of Şengün and Okongwu.
Okay. Noto, your thoughts at the center spot. And again, did you even mention Yabusele, TJ, or are you just out on him? Because he's the highest owned projected center.
Oh, X button.
Oh, okay. Noto, your thoughts at center.
Yeah, as Negative Creep says in the chat, it's Bona time. I don't think I'm going to have anyone else at center. I usually like to play 2 centers, but I don't think you need to tonight. You can play Mobley at power forward. This is a great slate. Like usually I try to max out my salary at least like within a couple $100, but you can leave $1,000, $200 to $1,000 and feel pretty good about your lineup just because you don't want to force someone that's projecting worse, that's more expensive, just to not use up all your salary.
Yeah. Okay. We want to take some questions here. Make sure you get some good questions in the chat. In the meantime, I was just doing a little forecast for Steve. He said in Nashville, they've got some tornado potential. Steve, it looks like that might not be until like 3, 4 in the morning. So you've got some time, although that's not a very fun time to get a tornado warning. I'll tell you that. But no immediate threat. Let's dive into the non-weather related questions, starting in the RotoGrinders Discord. As always, if you're watching on YouTube, hit us with the thumbs up. It's free content. It's 2 of the sharpest minds in the industry. All that we ask is that you click that little thumbs up button. DK single entry TJ Horford or Jabari Smith. I will note that I saw a couple of people mentioning Jabari Smith.
Neither are in the pool for me, but I guess Horford.
Okay. Let's see what else we've got. Do we like Adams over Bona for other Philly under 4K for DKGPP? I don't know if I read that right. Do we like Adams over Bona is the initial question. I'm pretty sure the answer is no.
No.
Steven Adams?
That's
big ol' no.
No, for me.
Yeah. Okay. Test. Let me know if I misread that question or if you meant something else. We can run it back here. FanDuel Cash. Noto, this is for you. It's a 3v3, so get ready here. Kawhi, KD, and Zubac versus Goodwin, Mobley, and Jokic.
Ooh. Kawhi, KD, and who was the other one? On the first
Kawhi,
trio?
KD, and Zubac versus Goodwin, Mobley, Jokic.
I think I'll go with the second one. I haven't really played around with Jokic lineups on FanDuel, but yeah, I love Goodwin and Mobley, so that could be interesting.
Yeah. Let's see what else we've got in the old YouTube chat. More questions coming in. Rick says, I need a 1 for cash, TJ. Castle, Wiggy, Vassell, Gobert. It's not Gobert. It's not Wiggins. It's probably not Vassell. It's probably Castle.
Nailed it.
Let's see what we've got. Reese or Hood Shafino? Was it Hood Shafino? Was that his name? Hood Shafino? TJ, was that his name?
Yeah, Reese. Reese is the one.
Reese. Okay. Great name, by the way. Hood Shafino. It's just excellent. Let's see. Scrolling down. Jackson Carr says, last piece DK tournament, Noto. 6,500 left. You got guys like Allen, Castle, Vassell, Eason. My top 2 spend ups, by the way, are Tatum and Bridges.
That's funny. I'm having the same thing in my single entry lineup. I went with Castle over Allen. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. C. Denny says, Roth, are these NOAA cuts going to affect your MLB weather prognostications? They make weather modeling worse. So yes, though I don't know yet how much worse. I would assume minimally or negligibly worse, but it certainly will not be better this year than in years past. Noto, if you had to rank Doughton, Butler, and Council in a FanDuel GPP, how would you rank them? And can we play all 3? Doughton, Butler, Council.
Yeah, you can definitely play all 3. Again, they only got 8 guys, so you can play all 3. I would go Butler, Council, and then Doughton, but I like them all.
Okay. Eric says, I've got 100% DeAndre Hunter, TJ. Am I too ambiguous?
Ambitious, maybe?
Maybe he was going for ambitious. That's probably, yeah. Thank you. On DK, 100% DeAndre Hunter. Am I too ambitious?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. A couple people noting Hood Shafino, and I don't know if this matters, will have a bunch of IU fans cheering for him in Indy. Is that like, oh, he's going to get more playing time now, and now we want to play him, or no? Noto, do you care?
I mean, he's going to get minutes, so that's what I care about. Yeah, he's fine.
Okay. Thoughts on Mark Williams for DK Center? TJ, I don't think you mentioned him. Mark Williams?
No, I don't have any of them.
Okay. Castle or Vassell on DK, Noto. Question from Maryi Don Yeezy. Castle or Vassell?
If it's cash, I'm just going Castle. But Vassell, I don't think he's going to be as high owned on FanDuel, so both are good.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. How about our boy Şengün in a DK GPP? I can't pick which rocket does things any longer. Like they're so balanced, their attack. Do you have any interest in Şengün? I guess is the bottom line here. DK GPP, Noto.
Yeah, I think he's a good play. I do worry about a blowout there. Dallas just has no bodies left, and I mean Thompson out being out helps him. But again, I'm just playing Bona, eating the chalk there, looking to differentiate elsewhere.
Yeah. All right. TJ, Mobley versus Leonard. Pretty please.
If you have Allen, Leonard. If you don't, Mobley.
Okay. We still have 9 minutes left, and we are decimating these questions. So if you have questions about basketball, about baseball, about weather, about dinner, please get them in. About how Noto's move is going. I'm sure he'd love to discuss how that's going. K-Town's Finest says, TJ, Pritchard Vassell or Jerome Castle is a big field GPP.
Jerome Castle.
Okay, jumping into the Discord. We do have some questions over there. Yeah, Test was saying, but when I asked about Adams over Bona, it was Steven Adams. And the answer is just a simple no. Correct? Yeah.
No Steven Adams.
Flat out no. M. Rio says, Noto, Pritchard Vassell or Jerome Castle, big field GPP?
Even though it'll be more popular, I'd select Jerome Castle.
The Mad Bomber says your best indie run back with 4 Sixers. Noto, I believe TJ mentioned he's got a little bit of Halliburton. Anyone you're interested there running it back? I saw a couple people mention McConnell.
Yes, I mean, sometimes when I run it back, it's more of I like the game environment. But with Philly, you're just playing them because they don't have anybody. So you don't really have to run it back. Like if Philly puts up 100 points and still loses by 15, all their cheap guys are still going to get there. So I don't think you need to run it back. That said, my favorite guy is going to be Halliburton as well.
Okay. Good notes. Let's see, TJ, over to you. DK Cash 3v3. Bridges, Doughton, Jared Allen, or Yabusele Bona Lamelo?
First one.
Yeah, it is. Let's see. Carolina guy says FanDuel GPP. How many Sixers is too many Sixers, TJ? How many Sixers you got in a FanDuel GPP?
The limit does not exist. They will not let you play more than 4, and 4 is the answer on FanDuel.
Okay. Let's see. In the old YouTube here, back at it, Jim Parrish says, Noto, hey guys, to be different, could you play Randall and Ant and Eason? Randall, Ant, and Eason in single entry.
So one of those guys to get different.
It'll be different. Yeah.
Yeah, not all
We'll
of them.
play Randall and Edwards together.
Yeah. But any one of them is a fine play in a GPP.
I like Eason the best of those.
Okay. Thoughts on Walker Kessler on FanDuel, Noto?
I don't know. Jazz just don't want to win. It's just hard for me to play them on a slate like tonight.
Okay. Hoosiers Hang Banners is looking for a good frozen pizza recommendation. Do either of you have one? If not, the chat is ready. Noto, you look like you might have one.
Yeah, if you go to Costco, they got the big square, thick ones, the Detroit style ones. They're great.
Okay.
They come in a 2-pack. That's what I would go with.
Noted. All right.
What
else? I know. Sounds good. Butthole Jenkins pointing out Hood Shafino sounds like a brand of car wax. It does.
Yeah, it's your car will get dirty quick if you don't got your hood Shafino on. You don't need the Shafino anywhere else other than the hood. But if you get it on the hood, your car will shine.
Double up on the Hood Shafino. Jerome or Pritchard, TJ? Who do you like more?
Jerome. But I do like Pritchard.
Yeah.
I would pick Jerome, but I love both.
Okay. CW has a fun one. Which chalk play late scratches or gets hurt in the first half? I'll add or gets into foul trouble and doesn't do anything. Noto, is there a chalk play that you're, or TJ, is there a guy that you're playing and you're just like, ew?
Gershon Yabusele is going to get diarrhea in the early second quarter and not going to be able to go back in.
And you're going to win all the money.
Yes.
I approve. Let's see. Judy says FanDuel single entry Noto, Butler Goodwin or Doughton Connect?
I mean, it's a coin flip. I like all 4 guys. I'll go Butler Goodwin though.
Okay. TJ Antonio Ibarra, great name, says, what's up, fellas? Thanks for all you do. You're welcome. Thank you for watching. In FanDuel, to be different, is it okay, TJ, to play Mobley, rather to play Bam instead of Mobley?
I would not. No, not against Boston.
Okay. TJ, 4 Sixers and 4 studs. Is that the move?
It's the move.
Okay. Is Brandon Williams viable, Noto, in a DK single entry GPP?
I mean, he's been awesome recently.
We just got the announcement a couple minutes ago that he's going to be on a minutes limit, and he's been priced up.
Okay. There you have it, Mr. Richard. The answer is no, based on
just came in.
The minutes limit. Okay. Mel Dog on FanDuel, Noto, Durant and Allen or Mobley Reeves?
Mobley Reeves.
Yeah. DK, favorite power forward. When Butthole Jenkins does this and gives this small range, it generally means there's a player, one specific player that we want. Your favorite power forward, Noto, 8,500 to 8,700 on DK. I assume what is like Mobley right there? Who's?
Yeah, it's Mobley.
It's Mobley. Yeah. Yep.
Shout out to Horace Williams in the chat. It's Pie Day, so he's saying you can get second pie for $3.14 at most restaurants.
What? There you go. Yeah, check out. That's a good point. Because the date 3/14 is the mathematical constant pi 3.14, and thus there are a lot of pizza deals going on. TJ, remind anyone else of Val Kilmer in Real Genius? Wow, TJ. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
He'll take you. That's not bad, man. Let's see. We got some MLB. We'll get to that one in a little bit. Whoa. All right. Let me check the Discord. We got about 2-3 minutes. Here we go. Got some questions coming in. Small field, single entry, your favorite spend up on DK, Noto?
I have Tatum. I don't love him tonight, but I love what he allows you to do by playing 4 Sixers.
Okay. Jay Sam says FanDuel single entry, Noto, Castle Kawhi or Goodwin Tatum. He says Goodwin Tatum probably projects better, but I'm initially leaning Castle Kawhi.
I love Kawhi. So if you want to get different in tournaments, I love it. Oh, Jenkins, $3 pizzas at 7-Eleven. Yeah, you can do that.
There we go. All right. Freya says DK Cash TJ 2v2 Bridges and Trey or Tatum Garland. Note that I'm leaving 700 on the table if I go that route.
Bridges and Trey. Tatum and Garland.
Okay. Tatum and Garland it is. Right? Yeah, I can't see you, but I'm going to assume you're nodding yes. Test says, I like Batum against Atlanta. Is that crazy stuff in a DK GPP, TJ?
Yep.
Yep, it is. Okay.
Blink
Blink
yes,
says,
crazy, not yes, play him.
correct, yeah. Blink 182 says, large field DK tournament, I'm playing 476ers. The best upside play at the forward spot, 5,300 or less. Do not include Council, and I don't want Yabusele. So, Noto, I'm making your work here. He's playing 476ers. He wants the best upside play. I don't know if he said what. Oh, DK, 5,300 or less.
Tempted to go with one of the Spurs guys, Sohan or Keldon Johnson.
Yeah, okay.
Same as me.
Yeah. Thoughts on Bona in FanDuel Cash? We loved him on DK. I think he's, yeah. Mm-hmm. We get the nod all around.
No iron lockstep tonight. I love it.
Yeah.
It'll hopefully end well.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
As he's going to watch my Raptors, are you kidding me? It's just like, it's fate.
Yeah.
TJ McConnell, Toppin, DK GPP. These are the questions. TJ McConnell, Toppin.
No to both.
No McConnell. A lot of people have been asking about McConnell. So
no, you only play McConnell when Halliburton doesn't play.
Yeah, that was my thought about him in general as well. We are moments until lock here. Let's see what else we've got. TJ, does it say woof on your shirt?
AOF, Agents of Fandom.
Oh, nice. Okay. We've got a tough one for you, TJ, here. 6'9 util DK. Alan Vassell, somebody else maybe in that range?
6'9 util DK. Yeah, Jared Allen would be my guy there. I guess the one thing I think, like, people are saying McConnell revenge. I don't care about that, but I think the one thing that would, like, maybe make him a certain somewhat viable is if you're playing, like, Hood Schifino and the other 3K backup center for Philadelphia, and you're saying there's going to be a blowout, so maybe McConnell gets extended run.
Sure.
But I still don't think it's viable.
Yeah. Okay. We have hit the lock, and since we've had a bunch of pizza questions, I will ask you both, what is your go-to pizza order? You're calling up your local spot. I want your go-to pizza order. TJ, you get to go first.
Like a fancy pizza place with like flame grilled pizza, like wood oven, or are you talking just like a chain?
I think just chain. I don't want to hear you say artichoke hearts or something that I can't get at Domino's.
So we go, like, if it's like a Domino's or a Pizza Hut order, we get one cheese pizza, one pizza that's half pepperoni, half Hawaiian, because that's what my wife likes. And then we'll do like the cheesy garlic bites and the Cinnabites.
Okay, to be clear, there are two of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's the thing. When I order food, it's not that I like want leftovers. It's not that I need that much food. I really, really like variety. Like, I like to have options. And so I don't just want like one type of pizza, I want on my plate, I want to have the cheese pizza. I want to have the pepperoni pizza. I want to have all the the garlic dips, the marinara dip. I want to have the cheesy bites, all of it. So
tickle those taste buds.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Noto,
I'm so hungry.
Go-to pizza. I know we've been talking way too much about pizza. Noto, your go-to pizza.
Yeah, if it's a chain, I'll just go pepperoni and olive, black olive. Good cheese bread. You guys don't like black olives on pizza?
Oh, God.
I like a fancy like prosciutto with some white sauce too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. TJ, I'm with your wife. I think a Hawaiian I just like pepperoni and pineapple because pepperoni is superior to ham.
Sometimes if I'm feeling crazy, save some pizza for the rest of the substitute. That's if I'm feeling crazy, sometimes I'll get the pineapple on the whole thing.
Yeah. Just a little pop of sweetness really can set it off. Okay, we're bouncing out of here. We have stayed past lock to discuss pizzas as we should on this wonderful pie day. So for Noto, for TJ, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been